Hello everybody. Are you ready to make the most delicious chocolate chip cookies? You know, the ones with the ooey gooey centers, crispy exterior and crispy sides, and which are loaded with chocolate. I know I am. So let's start this chocolate chip journey today. Welcome to Soul Kitchen. I'm Neetu and we are here for another episode of cooking from the heart and from the soul and infusing all of our love into these ingredients to make truly delicious food. Let's start. Okay, now what the chocolate chip cookies I'm making today are eggless, and we're going to use yogurt instead of egg, and they're going to be absolutely great, I promise. Okay, now the chocolate chip cookies begin with 100 grams of salted butter, and it's a little bit softened because since it's a small batch, it's going to turn about 8 or 9 cookies, and we're just going to whisk it up with this whisk. We don't really need an electric beater, and let's get going. Okay, this is softened butter, so let's start. The goal here is to whisk for about a minute or so before we start adding our sugars in, and just make it light and fluffy. Okay, so it looks like this now. As you can see, it's become a little bit pale and it's all whisked up nicely. Now to this we're going to add our sugars. Now now this is my secret ingredient. This is 1/4 teaspoon of instant coffee, and this goes a long way in amping up the flavor of the dough. I mean, this coffee just infuses into the dough and gives it so much more richness. So it's just so nice. So this goes into a butter. Oopsie. Okay. The coffee doesn't want to go in the butter. Alright. Okay. And we just, I'm just going to whisk this up again a little bit, just for like half a minute. Cookies! I love cookies. Ask anyone, ask my friends, ask my family. I'm like a cookie monster. Okay, so now we put our sugars in. This is dark brown sugar. It's half a cup, less 2 teaspoons. And this is what adds the softness to the cookie. So in this goes. And this is 1/3 cup, again less 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar, or in India as they call caster sugar. So in this goes again, and this is what gives the cookies its crispiness. So that they're crispy on the edges and on the top, and they're soft from inside. So this is what does the magic. Okay, now we whisk this again nicely. Make sure the sugars are nicely incorporated in the butter. Make sure you just like turn your bowl around so that everything gets incorporated. Everything is picked up by the whisk, and then gets incorporated nicely. So just keep turning your bowl around while you're whisking. It's starting to come together. I will show it to you. This is what it's looking like. You know, it's all getting mixed in nicely. So we want to mix this in for another minute or so. Roughly about 2 minutes of what it takes to come together. And then it's all good. And this is, you know, basically it. After this is just, you know, mixing in the flour and the chocolate. The cookies, literally, you know, they take like 5 to 7, like not 5 to 7, but about 10 minutes to come together. And that's it. Okay, I think this is about done. As you can see, it's quite nice and soft. Yeah, this is how it should look like. Looks good. Now we add our vanilla to it. Actually, we could have added the vanilla earlier also, but that's okay. A little extra whisking never hurt anybody. Now I'm adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now please, remember, if you are in India and vanilla extract, pure vanilla extract is not so easily available here. And even if it is, it tends to be pretty expensive. So if you're using vanilla extract, then always remember to use a little bit less than 1 teaspoon. If any recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and if you're using vanilla essence, then always go a little bit less than 1 teaspoon, because otherwise, it tends to, vanilla essence, because it's not the real thing, it tends to give a slightly fake flavor, and we don't ever want that. So going a little bit less than 1 teaspoon is absolutely fine, and that's what's going to give you the desired results. Vanilla, it's already starting to smell so nice. The vanilla and the coffee are coming together. It smells divine. Now to this, I'm also going to add, now here, if you're fine with eggs, you can use 1 egg. But I don't want to use egg right now. So instead of an egg, I'm using 1/4 cup of yogurt. This is plain yogurt. Either you can use store-bought yogurt, or just homemade yogurt, whatever is good for you. So this is 1/4 cup of yogurt, and in it goes. And we just whisk this up again. Make sure you scrape the sides of your bowl, so that everything is just nicely mixed in. It's looking good. Roughly about a minute is good enough. Ooh. See this consistency? That's what we're aiming for. Now to this, ladies and gentlemen, we add our flour, right? And we add our flour. This is 1 1/3 cup of flour. Okay, and I'm also adding about 3/4 teaspoon of corn flour. Now what corn flour does is it adds a lot of softness to your cookies, to the dough. So, it's going to make your cookies nice and soft and gooey. If you want a crispier cookie, then avoid the corn flour. Then don't add that in. So, we're going to add this in 3 parts. So, flour, and this is 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And one thing you want to make sure is that You know, sometimes in baking soda there can be little lumps. So I have a little lump over here. Just make sure you crush those if you see them, because otherwise they are not going to melt in the flour, and when they come in the mouth they are really nasty. So you don't want that happening. So make sure if there are any lumps in your baking soda and even your baking powder, just make sure you crush them with a little spoon. Okay. Now we just mix this in nice and gently with a spatula, or I'm using a spoon here. Just nice and gentle. This is called the cut and fold method. And if you've seen my other videos, you know this is my favorite thing about, you know, making a cake. It's a cut and fold thing. Okay, now we don't want to over mix this, you know, a little bit, just till it's done. And some more flour. Now the reason, you know, why we add flour in batches is that, you know, all the flour gets nicely mixed in. If we all add it all at one time, dump it in at one time, there are definitely going to be some lumps, you know, which are left behind, and, you know, some things which are over mixed. This way it's all very nice and uniform, and that's what we want for a good bake. Okay. The cookie batter is always a little bit dry, so just, you know, remember that when you're making it. And one more. And let me show you how it's done. Just roll it and cut it. Fold the flour and cut it from the middle. Very soon I'm going to make a video, you know, of how this is done, you know, just focusing on this. So we'll see that. But in the meantime, you know, just be gentle and just cut and, you know, just fold your flour in. And the last of, oh, we haven't added the corn flour. The last of everything goes in. Oh. Things don't want to move today. The powders don't want to move today. First the coffee didn't want to move, and now this doesn't want to move. Okay, so now we mix this in also nicely and gently. Remember, whenever you're mixing in your flour, you know, gentle is the key word. Gently, slowly, because you don't want to activate the gluten, you know, in your flours, otherwise it's going to make a hard cookie or a hard cake, and we're always looking for softness. So gentle is the key word. Again, everything should be nicely mixed in, you know, make sure your flour at the bottom and the flour on the side is nicely mixed in with your butter. Okay, I think we're done. Let me show you what this looks like. So as you can see, it's a little stiff, you know, but that's how cookies are supposed to be. This is how it's looking. It's a stiff dough rather, and that's how it should be. Now to this I'm going to add my chocolate. Once again, if you are in India, you know, we don't get very good quality chocolate chips. In fact, we get really bad quality chocolate chips. So please don't use those. And you know, I use chopped up chocolate. Either I use dairy milk, or today I'm using Nestle, you know, this Nestle plain milk chocolate, and these work very nicely in chocolate chip cookies. These become more like chocolate chunk cookies, but they work very nicely. So This is 100 grams exactly. 100 grams of chopped up chocolate. And of course, if you're in other parts of the world, then feel free to use chocolate chips, which are quite amazing. So we just mix this in again. Since the batter is a little stiff, so I'm using 2 spoons to just mix in the chips. Okay. Now this is done. Now we are going to spoon out our batter. Spoon out the cookies onto a plate, and I'm going to put this in my freezer for about half an hour or 45 minutes because I'm going to be baking them today. So if you're baking them today, then they go in the freezer again, for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and they're good to go. And if you're going to be using them the next day, or even after 1 or 2 days, then they go in your refrigerator, not the freezer. And then just cover them and chill them for how much ever time you want to, and they'll be good. So let's do this. A plate on which I put some parchment. So you'll see, you put the parchment, so then it just becomes easier for things to be handled. For the cookies to be taken out, they don't stick to the plate. And let's get these babies on the plate. So just by the spoonfuls, just take it and put it. I never like to roll out my cookies, with the hand. They give a very weird texture. I think, on top of the cookies, they just make it, I don't like it at all. So just, by the spoonfuls, take them out. And these are going to give us nice big chocolate chip. Okay, so this is going to give us about 8 or 9 cookies actually, which is good. Okay, so maybe I'll just do this later. Okay, so these are our cookies, they're on the sheet, and I'm going to put these in my freezer for about half an hour. And in the meantime, please turn on your ovens if you're baking them, at 175 degrees C or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to bake these on the middle shelf, on the middle rack of our preheated oven. Alright, we'll see these cookies then. Alright, our cookies are chilled, they chilled for half an hour. And now I'm going to put them in the baking tray. Now I have lined my baking tray with parchment paper so that the cookies don't stick. And slowly we're going to transfer them on the baking sheet. Just make sure you leave enough room between the cookies because they are going to spread. So I'm baking 6 cookies right now. And okay, and this is how I place them. So there's enough room in the middle for them to spread. And now in they go, and we'll see these in about 12 to 13 minutes. They're good to go after 12 to 13 minutes. Okay, see them. See these. I'm so excited, honestly. Alright. Our cookies are baked and they are looking so good. They're the perfect color. I baked them for 14 minutes, by the way. And they are the perfect golden brown color. And they're a little soft at the center. But they're going to be like nice and crispy on the exterior. They're looking really, really good. And I can't wait to try these, honestly. But I have to be a little patient. We have to, let them cool on this tray, on the hot baking tray for about 10 minutes till that cool down, till the tray cools down. Because these are still cooking right now, so we can't have them right away. And they're still, they're still baking inside, they're still cooking. So we have to be a little patient and wait for them to cool down for 10 minutes, after which I will try them and show you how they taste. Okay, it's been 8 minutes since they've come out, but I can't wait any longer. I'm telling you, these cookie waits, when you wait for the cookie to cool down, is like the longest, feels like the longest time. Anyway, let's try. Ooh, here it goes. I'm going to show you up close. That's the cookie, that's the bag. So it's got all this chocolate. And this is what happens when we break it. Look at that. Ooh, how soft that is from inside. Oh my god, it's got all this chocolate. Ooh, it's so soft. So soft, it's so soft. And it's crispy from outside, remember. This is what happens, when you bake it for about a minute extra. Like I baked it for 14 minutes. It gets this nice crispy exterior, but the interior is nice and soft and gooey. And if you want like a totally soft cookie, which is not crispy from the exterior, then just bake it for 12 minutes. That's perfect. Let's try. Oh god. That's so good. The texture is so good. Oh my god. This right here, this is a really good cookie. Honestly, these cookies, they are really good. Oh my god, look at it. I'm gonna eat a whole cookie right here. So if you want these absolutely delicious cookies, you know what to do. Recipes in the comments below. Follow it to a T and you won't go wrong. Promise you. They're really, really good. The sugar is perfect. That little bit of salt enhances everything. The chocolate is great. You can add a little more chocolate if you want, maybe 20 grams. Put it 220 grams. And it is really good. And in half an hour, that's all the chili you need. Half an hour is good. So please try them, and please follow me and see how easy baking is, how much fun it is, and how rewarding it is. This is how rewarding it is. And bake for yourself, bake for your family, bake for your friends, and just bake for fun. And it's gonna be a great journey, with us together. So do subscribe to my channel and follow along, and we'll see you for the next bake. Okay, happy baking, have fun, enjoy yourselves. Bye bye.